Let me pause it.
All right. Welcome everyone to the December 3rd meeting of the Northern Middlesex Metropolitan Planning Organization. My name is Derek Schuster. I'm going to be chairing on behalf of the MassDOT Interim Secretary and CEO, Phil Eng. Kelly, when you're ready, please call the roll.
All right, hang on. We just have a few more people entering, so I'm going to give just a second here.
Okay.
Okay. Derek Schuster,
Derek Schuster, here.
Brian Fallon,
Brian Fallon representing Undersecretary and Highway Administrator Jonathan Gulliver.
right? Pat Wojcik,
Here.
right? Stephen Themelis,
Yeah.
Wayne Janess,
Here.
right? Tom Bowmill or Bob Rafferty. I don't know if I saw them. Not here. And our ex officio members, I'm not sure if we have Jason Silva or Jeff Rosen here. No, not yet. And I don't believe I see anyone from FHWA or FTA
No,
here.
they're all on hands or all hands on
Oh,
deck for Cape Cod MPO. I met
that's
with
right.
them
That
earlier.
makes sense.
Uh,
Okay.
Before you change slides, just a note for the record, MassDOT Interim Secretary and CEO, Philip Eng.
Yes, thank you. We
Mhm.
will change that going forward. Thanks.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is open forum. At this time, if there are any members from the public wishing to make comment, please use the raise hand feature and the chair will be happy to call on you. Uh, did we do something different for the public comment opportunity
Yeah,
on this project?
so because of the change to our public participation plan last year, we are now able to accept public comments. Instead of holding a separate public hearing for TIP amendments, we can hold a public comment period as part of the next MPO meeting. So if there is anyone here wishing to issue a comment on Amendment 1 to the FFY 26 to 30 TIP for the Lowell Bridge Preservation Project, we will accept those comments now as well.
Thank you for clarifying that, Kelly. So the materials for the tip amendment number 1, I believe, were posted on the Northern Middlesex MPO website as well as shared at last MPO meeting. Are there any members from the public wishing to comment on that project or any other MPO business at this time? Seeing and hearing none, we can move on with the agenda. If anyone from the public again wishes to make comments, just use the raise hand feature, please. Next item is approval of the October 22nd, 2025 NMMPO meeting minutes. Could I please have a motion and second to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Motion.
Wayne Smith.
Thank you, Wayne,
I'll
and
second.
thank you, Steve. Do
No
we have
problem.
any changes or notes to the minutes? All right, seeing and hearing none. Kelly, please call the roll.
All right. Oh, and I believe I forgot Karen Pulio. Oh, she is not here either. Okay, sorry. All right. Derek Schuster,
Yes.
Brian Fallon,
Yes.
Pat Wojcik,
Yes.
Stephen Themelis,
Yes.
Wayne Janess.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is the federal fiscal year 26 to 30 Transportation Improvement Program, amendment number 1, as well as adjustment number 2. Who do we have presenting on this?
All right. Apple, do you want to take this?
Yeah, sure. So at the last NMMPO meeting, we had proposed tip amendment number 1, which we just held our open forum public comment 30 seconds ago. The purpose of this amendment is to reprogram $21.9 million onto the FFY 2026 for the build grant that was previously programmed on the FFY 2025 tip. We received no public comments through the public comment period. This was an amendment that we had voted for release, and our request is to vote to endorse.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board on the tip amendment as presented? Seeing and hearing none, could we please have a motion and second to endorse tip amendment number 1?
So moved.
Mhm.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and second. Kelly, please call the roll.
Yep, Derek Schuster,
Yes.
Brian Fallon,
Yes.
Pat Wojcik,
Yes.
Stephen Themelis,
Yes.
Wayne Janess.
Emphatic yes.
All right, motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for presenting, Apple. Go
Yep,
ahead,
and
Wayne.
I-
Sorry.
Interject
Oh.
really quick. Just
Mm.
these bridges, I hear about a lot. The Market Street one in particular is, right around the corner from where I live, and people have been wondering what's going on with this bridge since the city of Lowell was given some federal funds back in FY23. So it's nice to finally see this moving forward and be able to tell people that yes, it is happening. It's not just, you know, a figment of our imagination. Excited to see this.
Good. Yeah, well, again, just so folks understand, the programming of the funds in the respective year has to, it's a precursor before the city can actually do anything with them. So as long as the city is moving forward, this just means that we're taking care of business on the federal compliance side. So thank you all for accommodating that. All right. And then for tip adjustment number 2, Lowell reconstruction related work on VFW Highway. Is this also Apple?
Yes, it is.
Yes, this is.
Go ahead.
So we received word from Derek Schuster, that project number 605966, the currently under construction, reconstruction and related work on VFW Highway, has an earmark of about $3.7 million, funded by an external source, that would allow us to reprogram that money for alternate regional target funding projects. This is an adjustment and does not need to go out for public comment. This is a project that was advanced for construction, so received funding in 2025 and 2026. And then we would have to explore opportunities on reallocating the funding within the region, as it needs to be reallocated within this fiscal year.
Thank you, Apple. I can just explain I don't think this is an earmark project. This is sorry, I have to check my notes on this. This is for 605966.
Yes.
One moment. I think what's happening on this one is that because the project had advertised for construction and bids may have come in lower, that it doesn't need as much funding as what's assigned to it currently. So this adjustment is just to right size your program. And as Apple noted, that does free up regional target in case there are other priorities this year on the highway program, or if LRTA has any items they want to request flexing regional target funds to FTA or micro projects, a long list of eligible considerations for this fiscal year that this funding being freed up could be applied to. So,
We will adjust the summary. Thanks, Derek.
yep. All right. Are there any questions from the board about the tip adjustment?
I mean, that's good. That's unusual, isn't it, to have that money coming back?
It is. So MassDOT's gotten in the habit in October at the beginning of the federal fiscal year to do a look back at active advanced construction projects. So projects that may have advertised for construction in last year or prior year, but also have funding programmed on your new tip, to basically right size your tip. So sometimes project costs go up and we'll use an extra work order line item we preserve in the STIP to accommodate those increases, but other times bids came in low or projects are ahead of schedule, or we leverage something called August redistribution at the end of the previous fiscal year to forward fund projects earlier. But it does require this housekeeping item to right size your tip. And again, the good news is it frees up target funding in case you have other priorities you're looking to get out the door.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry for that very wonky explanation. Any other questions? All right. Could I please have a motion and second to endorse tip adjustment number 2 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Steve, then Wayne. Thank you. Kelly, please call the roll.
All right. I do want to acknowledge we have Jason Silva, our ex officio member, has joined, and so has Karen Pulio, LRTA representative. So I will call the roll. Derek Schuster,
Yes.
Brian Fallon,
Yes.
Pat Wojcik,
Yes.
Stephen Themelis,
Yes.
Wayne Janess.
Yes.
Karen, were you able to get enough of that to feel comfortable to vote?
No, I'm going to abstain. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. But motion passes. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And I just lost my calendar, of course. The next item on the agenda, there it is LRTA Transit Asset Management Targets, or TAM targets. Allie, are you presenting on this?
Yes.
All right, take it away.
Okay. So FTA's Transit Asset Management, or TAM rule, aims to ensure that agencies maintain their capital assets in a state of good repair. So LRTA is required to measure its performance and set annual targets for 3 asset categories, including rolling stock revenue vehicles, equipment, and facilities. So the performance measure for rolling stock or revenue vehicles is the percentage of vehicles at or exceeding their useful life benchmark. And the useful life is measured as the vehicle's age in years. That same measure is used for equipment, which just includes non-revenue service type vehicles. And then for facilities, we use the percentage of facilities with a condition rating below 3 on the FTA term scale. And the term scale is a 1 through 5 rating system, with 1 being poor condition and 5 being excellent. Revenue vehicle targets are set by using current vehicle replacement schedules. And the LRTA places the highest priority on replacing revenue vehicles to ensure safe and reliable service. Non-revenue vehicle targets are calculated based on available funds programmed in the LRTA STIP and TIP for service vehicle replacements. And then facilities targets are set based on our annual facility assessments and maintenance plans, as well as of available funds for facilities maintenance programmed in the TIP. So this table here shows the LRTA's 2025 targets for each asset class, the corresponding performance for that fiscal year, and then the 2026 target. So you'll see here, so LRTA missed its targets for revenue vehicles in the bus and cutaway categories. So for buses, replacements for 6 of our oldest 30-foot diesel buses. So those were due, and we had planned to replace them in fiscal year 25. But there was a longer lead time on the delivery of the buses, and those were not delivered until Q1 of fiscal 26. And so that's the reason for the missed target there. We have another 12 buses that are coming due for replacement in 2026. But again, with those long lead times, which on the fixed route buses are approaching 18 months now, we're not expecting those into 2020 until 27 now. So that's why the 26 target is that higher 27.27%. Also, you may have noticed that targets for the cutaways is consistently higher than for buses. So this is due in part to the nature of paratransit service, which accounts for the majority of the vehicles in the cutaway class. So targets have to be set based on age, and on the paratransit side, the vehicles tend to do less annual mileage. And so they may be past their useful life in age, but the mileage is lower. And so the vehicles are still in good operating condition. So for fiscal year 25, similar to the fixed route side, we had anticipated the delivery of 7 replacement vehicles, but 4 of those didn't get delivered until Q1 of 26, hence the missed target there. So we've set our target for 2026 back at the 39.58%. Our target for minivans was met, and we'll hold that steady at 33.33% for 2026. For equipment, LRTA met its targets for automobiles and trucks and set its new targets based on the 2025 performance of 33.33% for automobiles, and then 12.5% for trucks. And then lastly, on the facilities side, the LRTA completed several maintenance projects at its facilities, including window replacement and facade project at the McGuire Paratransit and Maintenance Facility, garage seam caulking and repairs in the Gallagher garages, and new flooring to replace feeling concrete at the Hale Street Fixed Route Maintenance and Operations Center. So LRTA plans to continue its annual preventative maintenance and will hold its target at 0% for both facility classes for 2026. So I'm happy to answer any questions before asking the MPO to vote to adopt the 2026 targets.
Thank you, Ally. Does anyone have any questions for LRTA?
Ally, Steve Thumless, just trying to stand it more. So performances is based on age and mileage as well. What's
It's
the cutoff?
only based on age for the vehicles. So
Okay.
we do a full assessment to look at, the mileage and the condition of each of the vehicle components every year, but the target itself is based only on age. And that's
what
per
is
the TAM guidelines.
okay? I understand. What is the age? Is there an age cutoff
Yep.
differently for different
Yep.
vehicles?
So for our biggest buses, which are the 35 footers, the hybrids fall into that category. It's 12 years. Then the 30-foot buses, it's 10 years. And then we have a couple of the smaller on the fixed route sides. Those are 7 years. And then on the paratransit side, there's an age range, a useful life benchmark range. We have some vehicles that have as low as 6 years, and then it goes up to 10 years. Depending on, there's a few different vehicle types and sizes within the cutaway class that we get through the Community Transit Grant Program. So those guidelines are MassDOT.
Okay, so my understanding is right. So even if it's a 12-year-old vehicle with, say, low mileage, that's still the cutoff is the age?
Yeah, so it's still going to, so this is based on how we have to report it in the National Transit Database, which is the FTA reporting tool. And that's automatic. It's automatically calculated and it's all based on years. So the mileage isn't a factor. When we submit our TAM performance and our new targets to FTA, there's a narrative portion. So that's where we would explain, if our targets look higher or we miss targets, we can explain, part of this is because the mileage is lower, so the vehicle is still in, good operating condition. We can explain that in the narrative portion, but it's a hard calculation based on the age for the actual performance.
And what happens to the vehicles? Do they get resold?
So we try to, on the revenue vehicle side, we try to replace things when they hit that age mark. They may stay in service, a few months after that, again, depending on the vehicle delivery and how long it takes them to get on the road. So once they do hit that, their useful life and we're taking them off the road, then we usually put them out for a solicitation for bid. So we put them up for auction.
Okay. Thanks, Ally.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you. Sorry. I had a question about the buses. The increase in the target, I understand you said is reflective of just the, I guess, delivery of replacement buses. So until then you have a higher than 0% of ones exceeding their useful life.
Yes.
Is that a trend other RTs are experiencing? Does that have to do with supply chain concerns with like where the buses are coming from or how they're getting outfitted?
Yeah, I would anticipate that other RTAs are experiencing the same. Again, because of the over the last few years, it's like you have to place your order earlier and earlier to get on the production line. And again, we're approaching the 18-month mark on some of them. So just in the cadence of when we're setting the targets to when things actually come in. So here that higher target, when you look at 2025, that's 6 of our vehicles being past their useful life. Those vehicles have come in. So right now our fixed route fleet is at 0% today. But when we go to do the reporting next year, because we know we've got those 12 buses that will likely not be in fiscal 26, they're probably going to be put in service in 27. That's the 12 buses. That's how we calculated the target for 26. Those are going to be over for just a few months of the fiscal year.
Okay. Thank you for explaining that.
Yeah, no problem.
Are there any other questions from the board or staff or the public? All right, seeing and hearing none, I do believe this item requires a motion to endorse the targets as presented by LRTA.
Thank
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Steve and Pat. Kelly, please call the roll.
Right. Derek Schuster,
Yes.
Brian Fallon,
Yes.
Pat Wojcik,
Yes.
Stephen Themelis,
Yes.
Wayne Janess,
Yes.
Karen Pulio.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is Northern Middlesex MPO anticipated fiscal year 2026 schedule. Kelly?
So fully admitting to borrowing from Merrimack Valley on this, they recently sent an email with a full schedule of what's happening over the next year. I thought it was a good idea, especially since we have some new members on the MPO. So posted to the calendar event for this meeting, I will also send this as a follow-up email. I have a memo just outlining month by month what we're anticipating our meeting date to be, as well as various topics that are going to be discussed at that meeting. And this goes through the next calendar year. So really the topics that are included here are larger planning events or the TIP or the UPWP, or sorry, the Transportation Improvement Program or the Unified Planning Work Program development. So you can see those timelines and when we'll be presenting scenarios for the Transportation Improvement Program, or when we'll be presenting our list of projects for the Unified Planning Work Program, and when those votes will be happening, both to release for public comment and for the MPO being asked to vote to endorse those documents. We can basically see what the cadence of those meetings are, and what I've also included in this document, and again, I'll email this out to the MPO and our distribution list after this meeting, is also an indication of, in the summer, in July and August, those meetings, if there is no business, particularly if there are no TIP amendments or UPWP amendments that are of urgent importance for the MPO to approve, we'll consider canceling those meetings. And then also looking at, once we end the federal fiscal year 26 in September, we'll provide a review of projects that we completed. And then as we go into the next federal fiscal year in October, we'll have another presentation to talk about how we're kicking off those projects that you vote on in May of this year. And then the other thing is just to note that already looking ahead to next December, we know we're going to have the same situation as what we had this month, which is trying to combine those November and December meetings due to holiday schedules. So again, I'll send this out to our distribution list and everybody on the board afterwards, so you have a copy of this. But just wanted to give a look ahead at what we'll be discussing over the next year.
Thank you, Kelly. Couldn't hit the unmute button. Any questions about the anticipated schedule from board members? All right. Thank you for presenting on that, Kelly. And is this updated in a calendar on the MPO website as well?
So the calendar events are on the events are on the calendar on the website. I'm going to be sending out actual Outlook meeting invitations to everyone on the board. So you'll have these on your own calendars as well.
Great. Thank you. All right. Next, I believe, is the TIP funding program study.
Okay. So again, this is Kelly Leinema, Deputy Director at the Northern Middlesex Council of Governments. One of the studies in our current UPWP under Task 3.3, which is the Transportation Improvement Program, is to study or evaluate the feasibility of establishing two new potential funding streams under the TIP. Right now, we just have our highway program and our transit program. We do know that other MPOs in Massachusetts have additional pools of funding that they kind of split off from their TIP funds in order to fund different types of programs. So we're looking at the possibility of whether it would be feasible for us to do this given the size of our allocated funding. These two programs that we're looking at are, one of them is for design advancement. So this would be opening up some of our TIP funding, or in like what we're looking at right now with the adjustment that you just approved, we suddenly have $3.7 million of funding available. Looking at how we could help our communities pay for getting over that design hurdle. Because getting something to 25% design to get it onto the TIP is often a hurdle that we hear about from our communities because the cost of design is high. So we're looking at how how we could pilot a program to fund early design or pre-construction work for infrastructure projects that would, through this program, they would be required to be designed to be eligible for the TIP. But we're looking at, how other MPOs are doing it and how we could work with MassDOT in order to create and manage such a program. Apple is studying this program. The other program is a kind of in line with our Greater Lowell Bicycle and Pedestrian Plan, looking at ways in which we could fund small bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure improvements. And so this would be a program to fund lower cost standalone or quick build projects like bike lanes, sidewalk segments, crossings, bike racks. Cape Cod Commission has a program to fund bike racks in their communities, and then the match is provided through the communities doing the manual labor of installation. So we're looking at the viability of that program, and Blake Acton is studying that program. We will be reporting out to you every month for the next few months on how the studies are advancing. In November, Blake and Apple completed an environmental scan. They reviewed programs at other MPOs, both those in Massachusetts and across the nation, to see how are they using their TIP funding. And they're also looking at state and federal funding sources that could be dedicated to programs like this. Starting this month and then going through February, they're going to be engaging with MassDOT, with peer MPOs, with engineers in our communities and municipal leaders to understand their interest in the program. Because we might have a program, but if no one's interested in it, it doesn't make sense. So they'll be doing some outreach to look at that. At the same time, they're starting to look at how to actually design these programs. What are the criteria that we would use to evaluate projects if we had multiple competing projects for that funding? What kind of parameters or contracts would we need to set up? If this was extended beyond a pilot program, what would that look like over a 5-year TIP? In January, they're going to move into a fiscal and implementation analysis, and that'll be looking at developing different funding scenarios, and also to identify would the development of these programs potentially either negatively or how would they impact projects that are already on the TIP? Because it's already our TIP is it's a smaller amount, and so we don't necessarily want to detract from those projects, and so we're trying to figure out what the balance is. What's the right funding amount to put in for these programs? And then in February, they'll come back to the MPO. We'll present a final report, including any TIP policy language or pilot year proposal. And then we'll have templates for implementation and any evaluation, so that after these programs, if they are in fact approved by the MPO, and if we decide to go forward with them, how can we, after they are piloted, how can we evaluate them to see whether or not they're effective and if there's something that the MPO wants to continue going forward? I posted a scope of work for this overall study to the calendar event for today. I'll include that in my follow-up email to this meeting. If you're interested, if you have any additional questions, I'm happy to answer them now, or I can respond in a follow-up email if you want to contact me. That's it.
Thank you, Kelly. Do any board members or ex officio members or anyone on the call have thoughts on the work that Kelly just spoke to? Is there interest that anyone wants to vocalize now?
I just had a question, Dirk, for
Yep.
Kelly. That, for example, the $3.7 million, and that can be carried over in the TIP, obviously, but can that be carried over to like another year in the TIP in the future? Or, and also the next question would be, does it have to be used for a similar type project that was originally appropriated for?
So I can speak to that a little. The $3.7 million of regional target funding availability is available to Northern Middlesex region during federal fiscal year 2026 only. If there were, say, projects or needs identified through this exercise and the MPO had a program in place and wanted to work with communities to do something with a quicker turnaround than a traditional MassDOT project, then I think that could be on the table. Maybe not for 26, because that would require a lot to happen correctly, really quickly, but it would
Good.
put you in a better place to have options like that in the future. Yeah, I hope. And the second part of your question, uh, really the only priority, the only eligibility for that $3.7 million, other than like all the federal check boxes that it's an eligible investment, is that they align with MPO priorities. So NIMCOG
Okay.
has put together transportation evaluation criteria, and there's a vision and goals endorsed as part of not Envision. What's the name of your long range
Yeah,
plan?
it's Envision
It is
2050.
Envision. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Envision is the Merrimack Valley one. Envision is you guys. So yeah. So Envision 2050 reflected visions and goals. As long as the priorities are in line with what's spelled out in those regional documents, then those would be eligible for programming so long as they're practical and deliverable this year. That's why we do the readiness exercise that we'll talk more about in the coming months for all TIP projects.
Yeah, it's almost similar to like a master plan, a town community. The projects are in line with the master plan, then you can work towards those goals through the town and so forth, different departments and funding and grants, all that. I get it.
Yeah, if people from the public said we want a high-speed rail to be funded with this $3.7 million, A, can't afford it, B, it's not eligible, and C, I don't believe high-speed rail is spelled out in Envision 2050. There's probably some other rail goals spelled out that would be good for transit funding, but there has to be that connection.
Thank you very much.
All right, and I saw there was a comment in the chat.
Oh,
The community member involvement match sounds awesome as a community member ready to volunteer for municipal efforts. Thank you, Brad. Okay. There are no other questions for Kelly. Thank you for presenting on the TIP funding program study. We look forward to hearing and seeing more in the coming months.
right.
Now on to TIP status report. I believe we're going to start with Highway District 4. Tim or
Hello.
Brian? Go ahead, Tim.
Hi. There's not a lot to update, but I can run through it here. We have project 613605, which is some vulnerable road user systemic safety project near bus stops, which is underway. It's gotten up to 19% complete, and the completion date is scheduled for April of next year. Then we have 612-197, Amesbury, Haverhill, Lowell, Methuen Bridge Preservation Bundle on I-495. That is nearing completion. It's 93% complete. Then we have 610-719, Burlington to Tingsboro Pavement Preservation on Route 3. That's gotten underway. Basically 1% complete, so they're barely started it. And September of 2027 is the proposed completion date. 609-250, Billerica intersection improvements at Boston Road, Route 3A, Lexington Street, and Glad Valley Road. That is underway. The completion date for that is September of 2027 as well. 608-861, the Westford Bridge Rehabilitation, Stony Brook Road over Stony Brook. We've received the 100% design plans as of November 10th. So that one's getting close to being able to advertise. 605-966, Lowell reconstruction and related work on VFW Highway. We updated our records to match your tip cost and year. And that is 24% complete, with June 2027 as the intended completion date. And lastly, we have 604-694 Lowell connector reconstruction from Thorndike Street to Gorham Street. That had its add date moved to January of 2028, which is only moved back slightly from December of 2027 for the end date. And that's all we have.
Thank you very much, Tim. Are there any questions for District 4 on highway projects that he presented on?
Just one quick question on 613605. What's really the scope of the bus stops we're looking at here?
Yeah, Wayne, the general scope of work for these types of projects is kind of identifying areas where there are crosswalks, or areas where crossings are necessary to access bus stops. So we're talking about doing curb ramps, crosswalks, signage, high visibility markings, and things like that, and some pedestrian islands too.
Okay. And is this solely focused on state roads or city roads or both? Or
Yes, this
This-
contract is focused on state roads.
okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
the program is focused on state roads just because the state has a little more control with right of way, whereas there are some challenges related to municipally owned roadways and these types of investments, but they're great investments and projects and relatively quick turnaround otherwise. That if there's ever interest in the community, I actually think the study that Kelly talked about a minute ago could also invite these types of investments and systemic safety improvements near bus stops on municipally owned roadways.
Awesome. I've got like 8 or 10 kicked around in my head right now. So Kelly, maybe we can chat
Every
later.
community does.
Yes, I'm sure.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Tim. I don't think we have anyone from District 3 on or any items of note for D3 otherwise, but could we hear from LRTA for any updates?
Right now, we just have our current state of good repair projects ongoing and progressing as planned. No major updates at this time.
All right.
I
Yeah.
have one.
Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah. We were just awarded a Lono Award, $7 million for purchase of 6 new buses, and they will be coming whenever Gillig buys them, puts them together
those
for
will
us.
be in
18 months
fiscal
from
year 27.
Yeah, the funding is 26 funding.
Yeah, but they'll be delivered in 27.
Yeah.
Are these
Okay,
diesel
so-
buses, hybrid buses?
They're hybrids.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
All right, and those aren't reflected on the current tip, but you're saying that for part of the 27 to 31 program, they'll be reflected in 2027. Okay.
Yep.
Well, congratulations. That's really exciting.
All right. Thank you for that, Justin.
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
thinking 26. So
Yep.
All right. If there are no other questions, I think we can move on. And we're now on to other business. Is there other business, staff?
Yes, we on November 17, we had our second virtual public workshop for the Greater Lowell Bicycle and Pedestrian Plan, where Tool Design, our consultants on the project, they presented a draft network, actually a series of networks. So one large regional bicycle network, and then 9 more focused pedestrian networks for each of our communities. That the recording of that meeting is online at nimcog.org/glbpp. And we also have a survey out right now. So we would love to hear from the MPO or anybody at this meeting. You can go directly, if you go to nimcog.org/glbpp and scroll down just a little bit, you'll see the recording and then a link to that survey. But you could also go directly to the survey by going to nimcog.org/glbpp network. We would love to get some feedback on the network, what works, what doesn't, are we missing anything? Because this plan is, we are going forward with this
Almost done.
network or any changes to it. And then Tool is starting to work on recommended design treatments for different typologies for different types of roadways and conditions. We're going to be bringing this plan to the MPO in early next year so that we can present it
follow
to
you in a
you,
few
respond to any questions. But we'd love to hear from you now as far as, is this network working for you, or what changes would you like to make? So that is a big update from us. And just wanted to make sure you all had an opportunity to provide input. Anything I missed, Emmanuel? Okay, all right.
All right, thank you, Kelly. And our next meeting is scheduled for 2 p.m. Wednesday, January 28th. We are not meeting the fourth Wednesday of this month due to the holiday season. So with that, could I please have a motion and second to adjourn?
So move.
Thank you, Pat.
Second.
Any seconds? All right, thank you, Stephen. If there are no objections, we are adjourned. Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy
Holidays.
holidays.
See you in January.
This will be my last meeting as I'm off the city council at the end of the year. So I just wanted to say thanks to everybody. It's been a pleasure. I really enjoyed getting the insight of serving on this board. So keep up the good work, and I'll probably come in and bug you every once in a while as a member of the public. So thanks for all the hard work from everybody, and I appreciate you doing all the things. Thanks.
Thanks for your participation on the board, Wayne. We appreciated it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wayne. We're gonna miss you, but don't be a stranger.
All right.
Enjoy. Hey, Wayne, enjoy a little time off.
I keep telling people that the worst thing about me not being reelected is I get more time to spend with my wife and watch hockey. It's really not that bad.
Good for you. Enjoy.
All right.
All right.
Have a
Take care.
great afternoon, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
You. Goodbye, everyone. Stop recording. There.